said, I'm the next one whose term is up in 2024, so I said, I'm done, cause I've been there, it would be 12 years for me, and that's enough time, and I'm also, I'll be, let's see, how old will I be? 77, that's old enough, you know, but because 6 more years on top of that, I'd be moving through, I mean, that's, I think that's cool. You might think you're okay, but yeah, you lose it, you do, it gets slower and stuff. So fortunately, one of the women that we've been using as a regular sort of helping us or she really wants to do it.
Oh,
so
good.
I said, that's good.
Good morning.
Then we don't have to go off and searching like searching for someone to do it. And but Lynn really wants to do it, so she'll be great. She's very detail oriented like me. And
Yeah.
that will help with the
Very good.
That's
and she works well with the other two. That's the other thing I said to them. You know, we spend so many hours together after an election and during an election. It helps if you get along and you know, can kind of
I have been staying
together.
sure, in and out like 50 years ago.
But I told the other two, I said, even if we didn't have someone lined up, I'd still be done, you know.
2005 testified
I
about
couldn't possibly run for 6 years.
my ex-wife.
Well, you never know
So I
who
spent
might
8
step
years
forward.
when we were married.
In the ward I live in, when I moved
She
to
moved back
Franklin,
here.
you know, all the
She's now
elected
in
officials
Baltimore.
were in place.
Got married.
So it never even dawned on me until I saw this big placard.
No, I wasn't black.
In Franklin, they put these, I guess
Well,
they
it's-
purchased,
maybe.
you know the big signs you see on the side of the highway, it'll say accident ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we have 2 of those in town, and they keep them on either end as you're coming into the city, like on me. And they had a big thing, Ward 1 election officials
I'm
meeting,
very good
contact city clerk.
Oh, that's great.
So I drove by it twice and, you know, doing errands one, and I said, you know,
All right, I can report that I
let me just call and see what it's all about. So that's how, otherwise I would have never, you know, considered doing it or thinking about it or whatever.
I'd say, well, you know, I liked both views, so.
I've
I think
enjoyed it.
Pretty much in
had
place,
like the
that's
most.
the ones who do
It's something I've never been involved with other than just as a
The
voter.
fire tower was
So to
terrific,
see all
and I
the
love the
behind
fact
the
that it
scenes.
had.
Well, it's
People have no
stunning.
idea.
It is
Panoramas in all 4
stunning.
directions.
I was just blown away.
That's what I always say to people is that when they think they want to be a supervisor of the checklist, I say it's a lot more than just sitting and looking pretty on election day. It's a lot more than that.
Yes.
So yeah, it was, but I was, the town clerk at the time called me when I first ran.
I'm sure I could do it.
And I said, well, who's resigning? Because I said, I'm not, you know, I don't wanna run against someone who's, and she said, no, she's Sandy Floyd, Sandy wants to leave, blah, 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 and I said, okay, then. But I said, if someone else wants it, certainly let me know and I'll get my name off the
Sure,
list.
yeah.
That's what happened, that's when I did it.
Right.
But yeah, it's,
Yeah, everybody in the ward I live in, resigned when COVID hit, and they said, you know, for whatever, I'm assuming, maybe they were elderly, or maybe they, you know, had medical conditions, or people in their family, and they just said, I'm not doing it, I'm not exposing myself, which I completely understand, but it was like, so we had no one to rely on to coach us, although the city clerk was wonderful, she spent the entire, that whole last year, the election year, the primary, the city elections, and then the actual election in November, she stayed in that ward with us, helping to direct, from the most, well, by the 3rd election, you know, we
pretty
pretty
much
much
knew what you were doing.
had an idea,
yeah.
had a clue anyway, so, yeah. But then I have 2 supervisors resign, so it'll be interesting to see what she's able to do.
Not very often. Yeah, just whenever something happens, I. Oh, absolutely.
Like you said, they don't even realize or realize that.
Yeah, basically the last 3 years, the only times I've flown
Well,
back
and
is.
if people, it's hard if people still work, they have to be able to get time off
Yeah,
from
that's,
their job
and
and
you
whatever.
can't.
So,
But yeah, I mean,
not every place.
well, I'm also,
In
I'm
our
out there.
system,
serving
we
there
actually do
forever.
the work, the city clerk doesn't do anything, our town clerk doesn't do
Yeah,
work.
it's
And
basically
Right, it's the same in Franklin,
Finland
yeah,
doesn't
the
have a right now.
supervisors do it.
There's arms deal
a good 3
for
days
it's
after.
beneficial for both parties.
the elections,
Be
I kept going
okay
into the city clerk's office to assist behind the scenes with some of the back office paperwork. Because I wanted to understand, the whole, you know, as much as I could about the process of what's going on. So I helped,
Paper ballot.
processing absentee
envelopes,
ballots as they
everything.
came in, you know, logging them into the,
I think maybe a
thing
few
and stuff,
thousand
the
pieces,
state
like
site.
maybe 2,000
So just
pieces.
any little job they needed done.
Okay,
And,
so that's not more than a few hours.
They told me that
I mean,
there's
that-
supposed to be
obviously
4
everything
full-time
depends on the
people
number of
in
people, but
the
not
city
more than
clerk's
2,000.
office now.
Yeah,
Frank.
so
One of the
then I
people
would say
many years
something
ago
to follow. We start
resigned or
by
quit, whatever,
counting that.
moved away, whatever it was. And
And
the
then-
position is still on the books, but it's
Because we
zero
have three
funded
things
for the
we,
last 7
as
years.
far as I can.
So they were technically down a person,
City state inventory
but now
of all
the
that.
person told, the city clerk told me,
Please the crowd
because that
by
money's been zero
taking
funded
a
for so
look
many
into
years, to try
the
to now
absentee
refund
ballots
that
over
position
months
is
ago,
gonna be next to
and let's
impossible.
let them
To,
do
because
the
it's
rest.
salary and benefits and everything else.
Why not?
So it's more
And
cost.
then
So she
her
said,
to scan
on
all
top
the
of
test ballots and
everything
600
that
people,
COVID
which is
added
the
to the
small.
processing,
That's not, but, yeah.
we're down a person. She
So,
said, it's just
that I think is
unbelievable
the
the
core
workload
things
that
we need to
elections
do
put
today.
on a city.
Is there anything on this?
Yeah, they don't realize.
It's stunning. And I kept asking them when I was in there, assisting,
Then the kid starts
is
up
the
in an
manager,
asking there when
is
they
the
put
city
the
manager
machine.
even aware of what goes on?
Thursday
They
is
said,
going to
absolutely
be
not. As
packing.
far as
Like
they're
our town
concerned, we
administrator.
register cars, we,
Yeah, well,
you know,
I-
take,
that's
yeah, we
usually
take the water bill
cars
payments, that's what they think we,
going
that's
silent
all we
forms,
do all day.
chain of custody.
I was stunned
Wednesday,
at the
Thursday.
volume
So
of
it'd be
work,
Thursday,
and the
off of them.
workload that they're.
They have no idea the
No,
amount of people.
no,
people they
it was
see every
amazing,
And one of these days,
People
I'm
coming in to get
going
married,
field
I'm like,
trip,
people just come in.
to the fish shop where
to
these
get
ballots
married.
will
It's
be
like we just
made.
wanna be,
But how much?
I mean, I could, even then, I'm like, huh,
Okay.
you know, but it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, stuff just, it's amazing,
about half
and the
an
amount
hour
of
away.
questions people
That's
come
what
in,
it
just asking questions, you know, it takes time,
No,
phone
it's
rings,
half an hour
phones never
from
stop
here.
ringing.
Then,
Absolutely,
You got
yeah,
the
yeah, so I'm going to do there
It's-
with my camera.
right. Yeah, it was
Probably
very
that's going to be
eye-opening, that's
Thursday
for
too, when
sure,
I'm going to do my field
very
trip
eye-opening.
to document how they do
We
everything.
actually, our town clerk used to be in a separate building. She had
I mean,
Yeah,
Which scanner am I gonna use?
what?
of this one building, and then we were down
That's
in
good.
the basement.
And I will make sure that all marks will make the setting that it's a
They,
600.
but there was a problem with the previous town clerk.
Are we ready to start?
Just very quickly.
okay, yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First of all, thank you for being here. We couldn't do it without our volunteers. Let me first recap what has happened so far and then tell what we are planning to do this week because we have still important work to do. Last week we completed phase 1, which was the machine count. And in machine count, we saw that the 4 machines, 2 of them agreed with each other very closely. 1 was a little bit off, and the 4th was much off. And I'm talking specifically now about the state representative race, not the other races. With the other races, all the machines were very close to each other. There was small variation, but not that big. After that, we moved on to the hand count audit, and we completed that, and the variations between the hand count done in November and this audit were just few votes each are very, very accurate. Actually, I was surprised how accurate those were to each other. So that hand audit proves that the hand count done before was very accurate and represents the ballots. In New Hampshire, when a hand count is done, it is customary and normal that basically all the candidates gain a little bit of votes. The reason being that there are conditions which are predictable. For example, a voter to do an overemphasized vote, meaning that the voter is voting for the candidate and also filling the write-in, which causes the machine to consider it an overvote and hence tossing the vote. while the human reading it and following the New Hampshire law sees that it's obvious what voters' intent was and it's a valid ballot to count. So that is a contributor why in hand counts candidates, generally speaking, almost always gain votes. And that's a known property of this is not a property of this voting machine alone. This is a property known when you are doing hand counts on a paper. This happens with the different systems, different states, because almost all the states do have a law dictating that the voter intent, if it's clear, it's a valid vote. There are still places where it's more strict, and if there is that writing voter intent is clear, it still doesn't count. But that's nuances. We asked at the time when we did the hand audit people to flag everything they see which is out of ordinary. If they feel the paper is wrong, if they feel that the ballot has been not human hand marked, anything at all to flag those pieces of paper for hand audit, for paper audit. And then, in addition, we had we told we are going to have a random sample. The hand count, as said, hand audit confirmed the results, and we didn't get any of the paper samples to be inspected closely, which we did on Saturday. Because we are following evidence, based on what we saw on the phase 1 and what we saw on a phase 2, we made a decision to add another step into the process. So we originally started with the idea of 4-phase audit. We became 5-phase audit. And the new phase number 3, which was last Saturday, was the test deck. And so we decided that what we need to do in order to see what could explain the differences between the machine count and human count, and also what might be the explanation between different machine counts, was that we create a test deck and run the test deck through. For that purpose, we started with a number of data sources. From one of the boxes where we have an unused ballots which were never voted on the election day, we found 35 ballots which had been machine folded for mailing but never sent out. When we look those ballots, we recognize two things. One thing was that the folding places of the machine folded ballots, the folding locations were not where the score line was on the ballot. They were off, and they were significantly off on a lower folding. This made us start asking questions again. We found out that what happened in Windham was that the ballots were started to be folded, hand folded, and at a certain point of time they had borrowed a machine from DMV, and that machine is here on the table to be helping and speeding up the folding. We tested that folding machine with a clean paper, and we found out that it's folding the paper exactly the same way as what we saw on those 35 ballots we found on a box. Also, we used the scanned images, the reference scans, wrote a software which superimposes all the almost 10,000 ballots, because there's the hand count ballots, in a single image. We removed some of the worst scans and also some of the ballots with the most identifying marks, pieces of literature, if you may, written to the ballots, so we get a little bit clearer image. And the image shows very clearly that in the top of the ballot there's a great variation of where the folding happens, and in the bottom of the ballot, the majority of the foldings which are visible are converging through Christie St. Laurent, I hope I pronounced it right, vote target. This is obviously very curious. The other part we found from the image is that there is a significant difference between whether the paper is upfolded or downfolded. So when it's upfolded, it creates a bump, and a bump creates a shadow. When it's downfolded, that bump is on the other side of the paper, and while the paper does while the folding creates a structural damage to the paper, that is pretty much flat. So even when we looked at the microscope, there was not much to see. It's really minuscular difference. When we did the folding with a real ballot with a folding machine, and when we did compare that to the ballots we found from the box, those bumps were identical. So we verified that what was sent out during the election is meeting the paper. Then later we also verified it in the paper audit we started. The bumps which we are creating with the machine to test ballots are identical to the bumps which we see in the voted ballots and in the pre-folded ballots. When we ran the test deck through the voting machines in 32 test elections by using 4 different decks, right? Yeah, 4 different decks. 2 of the decks were folded, 2 of the decks were not folded. And then they have different patterns. We found out that when the paper was flat and straight, the voting machines were 100% accurate, not a single misinterpreted vote target or ballot. When we had the folded ballots, the story is completely different. We found out error rates of reading the ballots, anything from about 25 to over 60%, which was way higher than we expected, because when we did a calculation for what to expect based on the ballots we ran in the machine count, we were expecting an error rate of about 16-17%. Also, when we did the machine count in the first phase and we compared that to the original machine count, it seems that the second machine count is closer to the hand count than the original machine count. The explanation of that was also discovered in this, proven, the hypothesis, because the paper has been laying flat on the boxes under pressure for 6 months. It has flattened the bump a little bit, and that's the reason why the machine count done in the first phase and the machine count done on the 3rd of November are different from each other. So, when we look the images of the superimposed images of the voted ballots, we found something curious, and it didn't seem to make sense. And one thing was that the folding seemed to be diagonal, and because of that, we were mistakenly thinking that those could be hand-folded papers, because it doesn't make any sense that the machine will be making a diagonal fold. It turns out that this machine does. Either this machine has been, it might be out of calibration, whatever it is, but this machine actually is folding diagonally. So our thinking that the diagonal folds might be a hallmark of hand folding was wrong. This machine is doing that diagonal folding. The testing proved us, with the test text, 2 different things. First of all, the 3 things. One is that no matter how the ballot is voted, if the ballot is flat, the machine is reading it accurately and reliably. At the same time, when the paper is folded with the machine, both conditions were proven to be right. First of all, if the ballot is voted straight party line Republican, and the line, when it goes through the Christie St. Laurent, it triggers a overvote condition, even when there's not real vote, but triggers overvote condition. overvote condition causes all those votes to be tossed, cancelled, and the voting machine is reporting those eliminated votes as blank votes. So that's why the number of blanks in the front is not only the people who didn't vote for anyone, but also is confusingly telling all the votes which the machine decided to erase because of overvote. So it proved that one. The second one it proved is that when a voter undervoted, so didn't vote for all 4 candidates, and didn't vote for Christie, the folding marks was able to create a phantom votes which were not marked by a voter, but the machine interpreted that to be vote for Christie. So because it can create both of these conditions, it satisfies what we were tasked to do and find out how is it possible that 300 votes more were found for the Republican candidates in the hand count compared to machine count, and how it's possible, which was at least personally for me the bigger mystery because it was known that hand count will increase votes, how it's possible that Christie got minus 99 votes. This test deck run which we did proved both cases to be major contributor for that to be the folding mark. Major because it's definitely not the only factor here in the play. When we ran the tests on the test decks, we found we chose the machine which created most errors on the machine count compared to what we believe to be clean count, and the best machine which created the best results. And these 2 machines created by factor of 2 difference in how many mistakenly read ovals by the folding they created. So there is a unexplained, and that's what we are going to do in machine audit, at the moment unexplained, but absolutely existing phenomenon, an anomaly. These 2 machines are behaving differently in the condition of fault mark. After we were thinking that Saturday is going to be a shorter day, we turn out to be here 9 hours because of the turn of the events. After this, I consulted the Secretary of State office, and I was told that testing of the folding marks going through ovals was conducted 3 or 4 years ago, and they tested with a very small deck, and they didn't find any problem in that. So the thought and the experiment had been done, and at that time their assessment was the folding mark is not a problem. If possible, and I will make a visit to Secretary of State office, if they still have those test decks, I would be curious, because this might be because of whether it's upfold or downfold. I have to say that when the decision was made use these folding machines, nobody could have predicted. This is something where when I was thinking about this audit home before arriving, I would have never thought about this. This is really what happens when you're following evidence. All of a sudden the evidence is telling you something you didn't expect, and then you follow the evidence wherever the evidence wants to go. It doesn't depend what you were thinking about it before. So this week we hope, and I was wrong already Saturday when I said I hope to have a shorter day, but we plan today to complete everything to do with the paper. Everything we need to do with the paper at this point of time is first scan the test decks, and this not in this order, but scan the test decks for the audience to be able to see what the test decks were. The test decks, by the way, were marked mostly by monitors. Only one deck was filled by one of our volunteers. Everything else was we asked the monitors, the observers here, to fill the ballots, so that we didn't have any control how the ballots are marked, just for the record. Also, the ballots were marked with the best possible way, so good pens, and I love when I've seen ballots from so many different states and counties, and seeing these ballots, one major difference is people in New Hampshire are very delicate and careful how they fill the ballots. You wouldn't believe what kind of check marks and just crossovers or rounding the candidate you see massively in other states. Here, the oval is filled exactly how it should be filled with the proper pen on most of the time. These are high quality vote targets. These are high quality people who actually follow the instructions, and it's wonderful. That's wonderful. But and I have to say, seeing ballots around the United States for yeah. Well, again, it should make the machines work even more reliable, and nobody knew about these folding marks. And as I say, I spoke with the Secretary of State's office. They thought about it. They made a test, and they thought that their test proved that this cannot be a problem. Uh, but whether they didn't think about the upfold, but outfold, I didn't think about that until we did it. One more thing about the score marks, that there is a specified rule that the score mark can never go through an oval, and it can never go through a timing mark. And that's where the score mark is a deliberately introduced structural damage to the paper, so that when you are folding it, it should fold from that place naturally. Of course, that's what happened when humans were folding. When we were doing the paper audit on the morning side of the Saturday, we saw that when you have a human folding, the folding was in the score mark. When you had a machine folding, the machine is able to fold the paper off from the score mark. Human probably wouldn't have been able to do it because the paper itself wants to fold in a score mark. So for the record, the score marks, the places where it should have been folded, in all the ballots we have been observing, has been in the right place, the correct place, and this machine borrowed from DMV seems to be the cause of the folding in the place where it shouldn't have been folded. But at the same, Secretary of State's own testing before didn't raise an alarm. So, and I will consult them to find out if possible to see how they did the testing. So we are scanning those. Then we started on Friday to go through the inventory of everything else, the forms, we counted the unvoted ballots, envelopes, affidavits, etc. So we complete the doing the inventory, and then during the week, none of us really have time to read Twitter or social media or anything. That's basically the Sunday when I have time and when everybody else has time to read. So one thing what we found is that there are people who are very concerned that we didn't look enough of the absentee ballots in their opinion. We are more than happy to accommodate. The microscope is back on screen. We have the ballots instead of last time when we chose by a coin flip. We figure out how the observers here can choose the box. We will take a look. So we will open the box, take something between 15 and 65 ballots, put them under microscope, put the camera to see what the microscope is seeing, so everybody in a home can get satisfied that these ballots are printed and marked by humans. So we will go through that. These are the only 3 tasks we are trying to accomplish today. Once we have done it, we are done with the paper, and that's a wrap up for today. Tuesday starts the machine audit. And for machine audits, if you look the time which it's taking, if everything would go smoothly, it could be done in 1 day. But we are now budgeting 2 days so that we don't need to go against clock or anything. The slowest operation of the machine audit is reading the memory card. And there have been a lot of questions about the memory card, so I will answer that one more time. The memory card in this machine is a technology which hasn't been used for ages, and it had never been used with modern PCs. It's fundamentally something what the modern PC cannot be connected into. It's a battery refresh static RAM pack. It's technology unrelated to a flash memories. It's technology unrelated to hard drives. It's a technology unrelated to any kind of storage which has been used in any shape or form during modern PC era. For that reason, we need to have a separate computer which is called crop scan machine, and we use that machine to read the card for us and then send the data over a serial port, which is again very old and slow technology. In Windham, the memory cards can be coming in 3 different sizes: 32 kilobytes, 64 kilobytes, 128 kilobytes. The sample I got from the Secretary of State's office is 128 kilobytes. It's not from Windham, it's just the physical device. And testing done yesterday, reading the memory card with this device takes about 1.5 hours per card. So that is the slowest part. The Windham has a single ballot style, and in that environment, the data should be only in the very beginning. So if this wouldn't be machine audit, if this would be just a functional audit, I would only read the first 32K and be satisfied with that. However, since we want to make certain that there's no malware hiding, we have to go through all of the 128 Ks. This is explanation why reading here is a way slower than what you see, for example, Hacking Democracy. In Hacking Democracy, we just read the beginning of card and be done with. I think I actually read 16K at the time. But now when we are doing the whole memory card, that's 1.5 hours, give or take, per one card. So reading those 4 cards alone is going to be a 6-hour exercise. And it's going to be as fun as watching the paint dry. Then the other part of the audit is we are going to open the machines, verify that these machines have physically severed connectors to the ports. I don't even know what it's looking like in here, so we are all going to be seeing that first time. The software of this machine is in a memory chip which can be only erased by ultraviolet light, so it's covered by a sticker. We will take that chip, it's in a socket with a specialized device, take it out, place it into a reader which cannot write anything to that because it's not erased by ultraviolet light, and we read the contents of all 4 plus 1 more. We have 1 reference machine which is provided by Secretary of State to verify that all these 5 machines have the same program. So, and then we need to do something which we don't know yet how that's going to turn out. There are physical possibilities which can create that one machine creates twice the error rate. It can be dust inside of the machine. It can be a physical problems in the anything with the paper moving transmission. We have to try to figure out if those are contributing factors. And if we find a significant buildup of a dust or dirt or whatnot, then possibly what we need to do is to clean the machine and run 1 more test text to see if that changes the results. There's also in this device a calibration data. We already have the calibration sheet. We have to look how the calibration process works, so verify that the machines had been calibrated accurately. And also we have to go through the physical maintenance records. We haven't done that yet. They were only in Saturday sorted in the right order. Due to a right to know requests to the Windham, those paper had been removed from the binders a number of times, scanned for people who have been exercising their right to know. But unfortunately, in the process, the documents were not placed into always accurately to the right binders. On Saturday, we first time sorted the documentation to the right order. So Tuesday and Wednesday are dedicated for the machine audit, and I said that should be more than plenty of time. Once we have done with the first two machines on Tuesday, then we decide whether we take the third machine on Tuesday or how we plan. But just in case that we are not pushing the clock, that's the 2 days, and we know that there's this inherited time sink of 1.5 hours reading one card, and the state machine doesn't have a card which is programmed for Windham, so we cannot use it for any other purpose than verifying the programming. Then on Thursday, it's a packing out day, so it's going to be signing the chain of custody forms again and sending the machines, which are then resealed, back to Windham and sending all of the boxes to the state archives. And during that day, if, depending how the time works, I will also make the visit to the print shop where these ballots were printed and documenting everything was done there. As said, at this point of time, there's no reason to expect that the score marks in the papers are all in the right place. I have been told that these ballots are actually not independently printed for Windham. Instead, there's a huge sheet where on the same physical paper, the neighboring ballot is not for Windham. So if something would be wrong in a Windham, it will be reflecting all the ballots in the same row of the sheet. So there will be, I'm just wanting to document that for the sake of thoroughness so that the audience and general public learns about that. I didn't know that that's the way they are printed. Now I know and I want to document that. But Thursday is going to be the packing away day. I think that hopefully explains what the schedule will be. Mark, do you have a?
Just a couple of things. Whoops. Okay, it doesn't feel very live, but I guess I'm used to being over amplified. So Hari had said that we anticipate being done with the paper today, and you notice that that's not quite literally true because, as he mentioned in the last few minutes, we may set aside one or two of the test decks that were built using unvoted ballots, otherwise unused ballots, to do further testing of the machines. But all the voted ballots, all the absentee ballot documentation, the vast majority of the paper, we anticipate buttoning down today, if it isn't already buttoned down, and not using it again. A couple of questions were posed by, Catherine Prudhomme O'Brien. One is, could we see an example of a diagonal fold on a ballot? Sure, we can do that. Those diagonals aren't super crooked. And I possibly disagree a little bit with what I heard from Hari. I'm not very surprised by those diagonals coming from a folding machine, because if you've worked with a high-speed copier or something like that, you know the sheets often feed a little bit crooked. But you know, certainly eyeballing the ballots, we couldn't know. The other question, I feel we've partly addressed this, but weren't all the ballots pre-scored so they could be folded in their correct places and avoid a fold where there is a vote bubble? So Hari described the field trip he's going to make to try to verify that. I'll say that from my observation and to my knowledge from the observation of the election volunteers, I'm not aware that anyone observed one of those pre-scored lines that appeared to be wildly out of place. We're reasonably confident from what we've seen so far that the misplaced folds were created by the folding machine, which frankly, you know, operates with substantial mechanical force at rather high speed and is quite indifferent to where the score lines might be. So that's where we are on that. We don't at this time have any evidence to suggest anything defective in the printing of the ballots. You know, we have a few more days to find something we don't know yet, but that's where we are now.
Yeah, I agree. So that's why the score lines have been so far found. Pam Brown, observer, is asking, that I showed some of the microscopic images with the bumps caused by folding, where those images taking original November 2020 mailed ballots only. So so Saturday when we did the microscopic, we measured the paper, we showed the pictures, all of those were voted ballots from the November only. When you see the pictures we have posted, there you have the freshly folded, you have the empty ballot which has been preserved in the same condition as the voted ballot. So all the three, there are all images of all the three have been visible. Then there are, if so, can some of the images freshly folded test deck ballots be taken so that we can side-by-side comparison of stale versus fresh ones? Yes, we can do that. We can do it again. So today when we open the box of your choosing, those are ballots which have been voted. We have the test deck which is going to be scanned. We will take that. We will put them side by side, and you can see what the difference is. I said those ballots, both the 35 which were found and the voted ballots, has been laying flat for 6 months. The difference is not much, but I think that's still enough in 10,000 population to explain the few tenths which are the difference between machine counts. But yes, we will show today in a microscope the difference, because now we will open one more time the voted absentee ballots, and we can even make a freshly folded paper on the spot here just to see what it is just a seconds after it comes from folding. We also verified from the local election officials that when the folding was done, they also, in order, because the folding is not sharp enough to put in the envelope, they also ironed it, and that is consistent with what the ballots are showing. So, but yeah, we will show all of that. With that, let's start by counting paper. Thank you.
Yeah, where do you want it?
What do you mean?
Remind me, were any of you involved in hand counting absentee envelopes Friday? Okay. I do not micromanage election officials in the counting of paper. It's a role that generally election officials are deeply, intimately familiar with. And I don't want to be in your grill by detailing procedures that you don't even think make sense. My general guidance here is we do want these counts to be accurate, so it makes sense to have two people's eyes and hands on each stack of paper so that we have reconciled counts. We really want this to be one and done, and we don't want any weird questions about the hand count of the paper to be arising after everything is squirreled away. So, and basically, we have a lot of time today just to count paper, and there's not that much paper, so we don't have to rush this. On information, what we have here is 5 boxes that were counted, to my recollection, Friday afternoon. Those primarily contain affidavit envelopes. They often contain some number of outer envelopes, which we've not been counting because the affidavit envelopes are crucial. Occasionally, they contain some other materials related to absentee voting, like I guess UOCAVA ballots have slightly different paperwork that we are enumerating. That's actually useful to us because we can cross-check that we have the right number of ballots of each particular kind. So I believe our approach is to take one box at a time that has not yet been counted. These ones with the yellow cover sheets, all were hand counted on Friday. These have not been. They primarily contain affidavit envelopes, to my knowledge and belief. And let's take one at a time. And I'm sorry, that's like the reverse royal we. I invite you to take one at a time, divide the paper however you want, break into teams however you want, and let's get a good count. And it looks like I need to print or at least locate a few more forms so you can write down what you see. And we have scissors in the room. I did not.
Mark, I saw Ann put them on this table here. I can see the black handle.
I'm sorry, you think scissors right here?
Yes.
So, question for Brandil, what I say, of course, when using an iron, you aren't using steam. The process of ironing, as it's meant here, is either using only your nail, or using a quarter, or using a plastic of the sizer handle to quickly go through the folding line, just to fold it tighter. So it's not literal iron, it's just flattening the folding so that it slides into the envelope better. When it comes straight out of the folding machine, it is still fluffy, and folding it into the envelope is more cumbersome and takes more work. So it's not literal ironing, it's just using typically something else stronger than your nail to flatten the folding line. Thank you.
Well, that's the conundrum. Are there only 5 of you? We might as well break this down. The scanning will really not take very long. We only have 300 pieces of paper. Okay? Yeah, from the ones that do not have these yellow. We should be able to clear that table. These are the 2 tables we used the other day. He doesn't need that table, but you can work around it.
We need a third table.
them out. You can use the 3 original audit tables.
I have a lot, I don't have anybody.
I know, this isn't garbage either, so.
We're not matching.
They're a little distracted.
So I don't have to find her.
So what are you gonna be scanning then? The envelope? Oh, what is, are you gonna do that? Oh, I thought you were gonna work.
Oh,
Yes, you are or you aren't?
We're going to end up in pairs, I think, but that's okay. Yep. Right, so,
Let's put like the outside envelope that it has nothing else with it there, cause that's just crap. And the other thing that is, things like that.
we have class already.
Yeah, I know. It must have been, I mean, I can imagine, I remember we both remember what that was like, so, you know what, it, well, except that the ones that will never return, like that's what those are, right, those are the ones that will never return. Yeah,
We will be doing it.
Oh, the application.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so tell me what we're doing so that I understand. The envelope, okay? Everything else. So, these are 2 separate piles? Okay. So we don't care about the application. And you check so we don't want this one, this was the mail I want.
So Mark, we're just doing the affidavit, that's
So
the only.
if they're like this, so that one's that one, okay, all right.
We're not matching like this kind of stuff.
Okay, so specifically you are setting aside and not counting outer envelopes. You may find material that is neither affidavit envelopes nor outer envelopes, but it could be worth counting. In general, we have. I don't remember any examples of things that were not envelopes which we did not count. Does that make sense?
He wants us to count affidavit.
No, we're sorting it, and then, so Mark, are we gonna then count this other stuff? The other stuff that, these are the affidavit envelopes that we're keeping out.
Yeah,
We're
so
gonna count these.
things, for instance, you have oath forms, those are appropriate to count, yes.
Okay, so you want us to count everything that has, that's a distinctive thing, this one is not,
So again, what we don't need to count is
it's the other, but everything else is counted.
How about the official?
Correct her,
yeah,
our corner.
Yeah, this is how it starts, right?
Yeah.
We're not gonna count these applications that they seem to be on.
Affidavit envelopes are what we intend to count.
And you have a maybe fill in the regular ones.
Right, I understand that, right,
Do
okay,
that
yeah.
separate, you have
We'll count it.
Pardon?
Say what it is. We'll say, and then if you need it, then you try.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that we're seeing, and I guess I'm not surprised. Well, I mean, it's thousands of ballots that have to be processed in no time at all.
Oh, that's a combination, okay.
All right, so.
So we're sorting the start of what it will be now.
And identify.
Absentee ballots,
Absentee,
our
return
return
envelope.
applications.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna,
And
they
then-
may take one
she keeps this, when she gets like the request, she keeps them in the folder. And then when this comes, but I guess it's been sitting out here long enough, it really is. Yeah, so I can just put it in the pile and not just throw it.
Right.
Mine gets all the time.
Right.
So this
those
is like
are-
trash. This is just trash.
This is-
Well, we think, we still have to say.
Stuff.
Yeah.
That accountable here.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha, yep, I understand. So like that, I'm taking on top.
Yeah, I helped with the polling. I didn't recall that there was this scoring. But maybe there was, I mean, all I
Right,
was
I
told is
didn't, I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, I was told.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, so when we did.
No, this is the first one I got. One of these.
Oh, one of the, oh.
Yes, postcard. We probably should have a separate file.
Oh, no.
That's the one that they.
Oh, yeah, I think it is. That wasn't good enough. See, my
Well, they
life,
said, yeah, okay, section say rule that it was. But it took them 7 days.
and she ended up calling the people who put it in, and said, it's not complete. All kinds of things.
Doing this right. These are right, affidavit.
But then she.
Oh, okay, and then on code is, yeah, what is on the, and then that, that's separate. Okay. Garbage, yeah, that's kind of garbage. Yep.
No, you can put everything together.
This goes to the other, no good.
Oh, Mark, I'm sorry, I thought you said Mark.
Yep.
Or something of hers.
Oh, yeah,
And
take
then
it,
1500.
yeah.
Oh, $1,500 down. Or 1,500 filed. Yeah, 1,500. That's the balance. That was a lot for us.
Sure.
Stuff together.
Nope, exactly.
Just counting it, and then let them figure it out.
Don't think you'll even use all those, but.
You really.
Once I get printing, I'm just like,
You are kind of tough, right, too.
Oh, I know.
Because I pulled these apart, there's the affidavit, I'm just gonna separate it. But they were stapled together, and because I pulled that out, separated, so I'm gonna throw that away.
So I'm gonna count these first, we'll just say outer envelopes. Okay, all right. That's right. 13. I guess 24, 25, okay. All right, 20, I count 27 or 25. What's our box number? 15?
No, not.
Okay,
I just
I have 4 there, 4 extra.
I've only counted these.
Right,
These have 25.
yeah, that is 25, and this is 25 and 2.
Oh, I got some, the corners are gone.
These here, that means I have to count them.
Okay. And I'm gonna count those, okay. I'll do these first. Let me.
Let's put a check mark when we agree, you know what I mean, then we know it's been double counted. How's that sound? So this just had, the whole stack had a thing of 25. Is there 2 packs of 25? Cause like,
Yeah, there were 2 of them.
there were 2 of 20, got it, okay.
mile away, same ward, because we have 10 wards, voting wards. It's about 3 miles in, from where I used to, a little closer to town. When I'm retired, I used to run the AAA office in Concord for 46 years. And now
Is it still, it was in the plaza, is it still there?
it was, oh, you remember that? Yeah, it was right on Main Street. We're Market Basket and Staples are located.
Okay.
Fort Eddy.
Yeah.
And, so I retired a few years ago, and I wanted to stay home, and I became what they call a grant estate officer.
Oh, nice.
We had a folding machine in our town, and it did fold them, I like it all, get out.
Yeah.
So most of the time I do tours of the State House, that's what I enjoy doing.
I think
But because the State House is closed,
I was gonna say.
I'm now at the airport about 2 or 3 days a week, I'm on the secure side, so I'm cleared TSA, and I greet people coming in, or people coming out who maybe hear us, so on or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Because I just can't stay home all day.
That's hard.
Watch Andy Griffith reruns all day.
I live in Dublin. And I worked for the state for almost 20 years.
What department?
Post-secondary education, just higher ed.
Town kids have to do that.
And, we were the state.
I'm sorry?
Is this the way your town kids have to do that?
So
I
were you there when, was it, what
stepped
was
away
his name,
from that
last name was
process
Langio?
because there was somebody being very,
Langio?
you know about something,
She was like deputy commissioner.
so it was easier to, you know what, and do your thing.
Until they moved us to the Department of Ed.
Except this
I
time.
had
Is it time period?
When I helped do the prior check-in, so that
So I
whole
moved
process
over.
took care of all this extra garbage
When I
too.
But we didn't do, they went like this, they put
worked for the
together.
state, we were out on Beacon.
None of ours
Two
is
and a half Beacon
Staples,
Street.
Yeah.
that I know
Yeah, I'm
of.
not that far away from
But
there. You just
when
go
we
to
did
the
the
end of
prior
Beacon and-
check-in,
And then.
there was definite making sure this and this worked together, you know, that kind of thing. I do remember doing that.
By where they
I
service.
staple my effort.
My office is right next to where they service.
Together. So everything is right
Buses.
there.
No, you were town clerk,
And then,
moderator.
no, it's an
Well, our moderator was not real healthy, and he wasn't involved, we had a new one, and she was
Drive,
learning,
moved into the
which was good.
higher education. So this is
I'm glad she was there.
Bologna on Airport Road. Which is the day. And then I retired, and they went out to Department of Ed, state office.
So actually, these are the only things that are gonna count towards anything, right?
We're gonna put them in piles of 20,000.
What I'm gonna do
And this stuff
is
is
I'm
just
gonna
gonna
count
be
these
in
in
the
the back
back.
of the tent. And the outside,
Is that what they want to say?
I don't know, that's how I do it, well, hand count down. And so,
You have a good hand count. So you can do like cross.
and then we do like at the same time, cause when we count that even 50. Just so that way.
I'm not gonna keep that.
Sounds like the best option.
I'm not throwing anything away for sure. But I just wanna double check before I
Yeah, I
put
miss
it
the
to the
State
file.
House, because that was, you know, they do a lot of school groups.
Yeah.
And some of the GSAs do that, but I deal with, anybody else.
So I'm sorry, what we do then is we check to make sure that these are in fact count. So I do one count, then you can do the other, you know, the verified count. you know,
Absolutely.
application.
Yeah, I knew it.
So that goes here. No,
It's an application.
so it doesn't have to have an
No,
audit.
no, you're looking for academic.
Yeah, so this doesn't have an audit, it's just the application to get one.
To Massachusetts, I think,
Okay.
Boys and Girls Club or something. Good memory, Nick. I'm remembering stuff. Concord's a small town, it's only 42,000.
So,
Thank you.
Odie's father-in-law would have, was a chiropractor, and I think he started out.
This, good. No, it's one of those kinds of things. There was one that was a absentee, UOCAVA something or other.
One of them started, either her husband, one started from one or another started.
Here, that's what I had for that, UOCAVA stuff.
Yeah, he was Boys and Girls Club originally.
Right, that was, yeah, but I think
Concord, yeah.
See, that's what I had
his
separate.
father-in-law or his father-in-law started.
You're not in touch with them anymore, are you?
I haven't been in touch with Jim. Was,
This is trash. I'll just keep it all together for a minute. I'll organize it a little bit neater before I throw it in.
also worked with Santa, this Stefano. Steve, this Stefano's brother. He had run for state, who was his name?
Yeah, what part of the town?
Devon County.
I should recognize the name, I watched the state rep right now. She has 41 years. My wife.
Your wife.
Yeah, she was the majority.
I'm glad we don't
a couple
have
times,
to
and she chaired finance for a
cross-check this with this.
Democrat.
Can you imagine doing that?
Mary Jane.
Not the way these things are kept.
I
I
think right now
know.
she's the second longest serving state rep in the House.
That's what I was thinking, we were,
Just remember that's why.
It's been
that's all right, I mean, I'm still,
yeah, he's on the
that
finance,
concerns
he
me.
chairs the finance.
Right.
Send it to me too.
Because he was on the finance committee when we had to go.
Was that recently?
No, I retired.
Well, because Neil Kirk had it for a long time before
Yeah.
Ken Weiler.
Yeah. And the other person who didn't ever, his son from Rand,
I said,
John Hunt, will go around tours, to Reynolds and
but you know, now when you know these days, you know, through my
now these are
life,
from.
okay. So I have done all of this. I'll start double down, I'll start checking. So do you think we need to count these or not?
I don't think you want, you said that you want, this is, he's over there.
Yeah, I'll just put them over here.
Yeah.
I'll start counting these. I assume these don't get counted either. I'm just gonna put those, how's that right there? So you're doing increments of 5, 10.
That should be fine. I had the, morning, so I'll put another 10.
I'll let you put another 10
Right.
first.
Okay, just make sure these are 10, and then so on. That's the done one.
One thing I forgot to announce, Professor Phil Stark, since we were done with the paper ballot counting, he is right now on the plane back home to California. So he has left Concord because he's not anymore mandatory and needed for this part. So the last part of the process, he will obviously be writing the report with us, but he, in person, he's not going to be here for the rest of the time. Thank you.
I think you only got 30 on this one. Oh, no, never mind, sorry. Forget it.
And I don't think that needs to be. You want these in there? Oh, I thought you wanted me to count yours. No, I can count it.
I don't think we're supposed to do all the boxes, were we? Just
got those. And then we'll just add them together.
Oh, here, there's one that's not written. Here. No, I was gonna say I have other written. We used the green pens the other day. But that was because they can't be, they're not red. They're not read by the machine, so. So we fill what that out?
Yeah, here. We put we organized it by item.
You didn't count these, did you?
We did.
Oh, you counted those
And we
too?
counted these.
Did you count the empty envelopes?
Yes, we did. Yeah. This is
What we did, we just counted everything, because we said that way they can pick the one thing they want.
Okay.
All they want is, but you can do, you know, whatever.
Anyway, this is what we did. We
think-
put it back in neatly anyway. We didn't just toss it in like they did. It's going back in a neater way.
Basic. So you just list this.
Okay, what does say? No label, do we have any labels?
Okay, now you're getting
Not sure, they just, what they did was they put that on top of that. I'm just gonna count the envelope.
Okay, so this material type is affidavit, right?
Okay, just for miscellaneous and not counting. Yeah, exactly.
So you can count 25.
You want me to count it too?
No, I counted it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it,
Plus,
if it's a
the affidavit.
So we'll just do those because that's the smallest. of the
Okay,
list.
but this what you're doing is material affidavit.
With ballot.
Is it uncounted, ballot counted? I mean, was it
How good she is now. She'll say, why did I bother?
Flexible search is 30-day empty envelopes. And I'm just gonna put these in there.
Should those go on the packet then?
Yeah, I'm gonna put them on top on the left side here.
38 empty envelopes.
Oops, wait a minute. No, I'm good to count. I'm good to count it. I just,
Okay. These are.
Good thing we kept the original.
Application. What is
So yeah, it's kinda. Especially
So,
with how-
what do you think we're gonna call these? Card application.
computer.
No,
That's the
just
real-
like that.
Oh,
So we can count them.
And in fact,
you wanna count them
Right.
again? No,
and in fact,
Let them know they have ballots in.
counting them as in groups of hundreds, gotcha.
exactly 50 envelopes.
50 envelopes?
And I think I'll put all the small stuff on top of each other and then the rest of it.
These I'm calling them card absentee applications. Oops, here's another one of them. So now, yeah, let's put that,
Is it the same thing?
sort, yeah, as close as I can figure.
Or is it one of these things?
No,
Oh, I see.
it's an application.
I'm sorry?
A lot of absentee
Yeah,
ballots.
yeah, we have a lot of that now.
The application.
I think that's an application, isn't it?
So is that.
Hmm?
So are those. They're just different.
Okay, so we'll put them all together.
Yeah, so those will be card application, they're
Except
different.
these are different than that because look, it's numbered 1 through 4 here. And there's no reverse to them, but there's a backside to that.
So here, they're all applications. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm
we'll
just-
put it here. So that's 3. So now we have,
And then you have this guy already.
yeah, I have one affidavit and with that. So now we
Here,
do.
I'm just gonna slide these, yeah, I'm just gonna put it up here.
I don't think they count each other on.
And then these are your numbers.
Not for the,
Just a blank envelope, should I put it in there? Just, we'll call it miscellaneous.
right. I actually, I was gonna say, if you could just below that.
I'm still, yeah.
Here are the clean ones right here.
Reading one question from Don Rero. Does LHS and ESNS have the same hardware voting machine, in the voting machines? So for example, this machine is an AccuVote machine. And AccuVote was, it has a long path of companies it has passed through. AccuVote name was given by a company called Global Election Systems. Global Election Systems was purchased by Diebold. Diebold then spin off the company to be called Premier. Premier itself was acquired by ESNS. ESNS, the Department of Justice intervened and forced ESNS to sell the business to Dominion. So Dominion was not, Dominion bought it because the Department of Justice intervened and forced ESNS to sell it. And after that, both ESNS and Dominion has been maintaining all of the old Diebold election machine base. So LHS is one of the election services companies independent from those people. So most of the time, ESNS and Dominion has a completely different unrelated hardware. Most of the Dominion products are unrelated to each other, etc., etc. Because Dominion also bought a system called Sequoia. But this particular machine is appearing, and the sister of this one, which is the touchscreen system PS6 and PSX, they do appear in a contracts of both Dominion and ESS because the path of acquisitions this technology has had through the decades. Thank you.
I think they come
Yeah,
come
I'll just correct it afterwards.
because it's been.
I lost count. So we should be counting these two later. They were over there, so I guess we're just copying them.
There were 219 affidavits, and then there was the one, the affidavit with the ballot. And then there's this that says. Do you agree with
This is a
Friday?
short number
This is
that
the
thinks
spring,
it
this is the thing for bring in.
We just itemize it on the manifest, run it down, right?
So this is, what do you
these are all.
All right, let me get the form. Put on the, it's the box number.
Is it the white label here? No.
I'm gonna steal one of these, just a
Alright.
copy of them.
Certainly.
Add two more to the envelopes. Add 175, 179 of envelope and, yeah.
Because I wasn't sure if you wanted me to, if that, I did that. These are just applications, I think. I would almost put this as an application.
Okay. So add one more. I'm just gonna put this name.
And this is one. This is 15, and 15, and we had 25 other
Let me just go ahead
applications.
and step. And then change envelopes to,
The other applications, is that the applications, the loan application?
yes.
See, now I forgot again, what number?
There must be 25 in there,
It's
right?
25, I think there's 18 to make sure, because I forgot, I counted 1525, right?
Okay.
Is 40,
It is.
and that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
We have to sign it, we should both sign it.
And get another box.
Pretend it's a Christmas present, shake it and see how long it is. Oh goody, now the fun begins.
Oh, this is a new, is this a new harbor? Federal. Oh, look at this.
Mess, isn't it?
This one is a real mess. So this one I'm gonna put up here, cause I don't expect,
Way on the side, yeah.
we'll get,
We put all our miscellaneous stuff
yeah.
there. Okay, so.
Okay, this is starting a pile of onlys.
End of the day, if I just threw them all in there, I can understand it.
Look at this. This is just documents over here and just applications.
And now what about this guy?
Oh, here, well, this is seven. Yeah, those are instructions, but, you know, the thing is, people were so worried about doing it right. I mean, I put everything, you know, they didn't want to make mistakes.
There's that cricket again. Was that was somebody's phone? But this morning I just checked in around 7
they're
Did you
absentee.
process? What's your role?
Yeah, I would just put the same like name, cause it's the same thing, this
What's your
absentee
role?
ballot envelope.
And the board clerk, 10 boards in Concord, and I can work with that our moderator felt uncomfortable being president of both elections. So I was sort of like moderator pro tem, although we assigned somebody to be the moderator, but
Who's your moderator?
it was a guy named, Rick. Talk about brain cramps.
That is the, it's,
So we had our old, our former moderator come back, which was Mike Fisher.
okay, so this is. This is a Ulatava affidavit.
Put it over
I'm,
there.
yeah, I'm gonna put it here because it's big. And I don't want to get mixed up. So if you have another one, let me know. And I'll-
Yeah, it was just, the question about, obviously, it's not an iron, we have steam, we're gonna press a outfit or something. Yeah. Do you mind if I start you over? I'm good. Yeah, yeah.
piece of 25?
Yeah, do these.
Okay.
Because then I'll just keep sorting.
Right,
and count
okay.
these, double count.
These have to come out of the way.
I'll get you more.
What are these? These are not.
I'll just.
I know we don't.
So these are, yeah, we'll put those in. As you can from this 25, I'll put them in the file.
Okay, we're not counting those up, we're not putting on the label,
Oh, you know, we still need to count it.
so we can just put them in a file.
Is that 25?
That's not- This is not in the file.
This is the other one.
Right.
Oh, it's the cash sheet one.
Oh, the one time you need to get up, right?
Yeah, that's true. You're the other Jean, right?
I'm sorry?
What's your first name?
Ah,
I thought I'm Jean.
what is it?
Jean.
Jean.
national news, and this is the way this stuff looks.
I'm sorry?
National news, and this is the way this stuff looks.
Well, I think at the time they figured it wasn't going to be a big deal. Just get it out of there. All right. You want to hand these back? It could be worse. It must be
I'll just put them, we count those at the end, just because some will appear again at the last.
Oh, here.
There's 10 here.
Oh, okay, there's 10 here. This,
5 and 5.
so this is 15?
Yes.
Okay, I'm taking them.
But then,
Some people's children. How many are there? Oh, yes. Yeah. I just didn't use the same words. Yeah. These were not as neat as those. Although we didn't have them anyway. Okay. Look, I just must have failed, sorry.
that's okay.
Combine them up, okay? Yeah, well, that's all right, I'll let you do that, and we'll count, we'll total.
Oh, okay.
so I'll start a pile on this side, then we can swap out that.
No, it's more than that.
You want 50, is that what you want?
No, I just assumed that, you want 25? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Just count those in, there's my 25, yeah.
Let me have your 25. Okay. I tried turning them all the same way, so you should have the bottom.
Good idea. I don't know if I did that or not, but I will.
Now, this is what I expected.
That's what I do.
I know, that's what I expected to find here.
Guess what? There's not anybody working in the building.
Because these here are anything valuable at all. So it's like, this should have been a mistake with that.
I keep the envelopes, I keep everything.
I know, but.
Yeah, I know what you're
as far as coordinating who's what where, to me, that's how it should be done. And that's me. I'll just do them so.
Yep, go ahead. put it with the other smaller ones.
Oh, yeah.
So let's do these.
Okay.
2, 3. I need it one pack to make
I'm
them.
tucking this down in here.
4.
Oh, yeah, it did.
You did good.
Yeah. It is, 11/14. Put that, how many are there? She puts a 9.
Yes.
Yep. So,
And then we don't have, so now we just have.
Okay, so you'll need tape to really fix this up, but it's basically a matter of,
No, we don't, they took,
Oh, they
someone took them, yeah.
resealing the boxes, and taping this on top, making, you're good to go. It's good to keep that number.
Right, 'cause that's the number box that we identified.
Yeah.
So where's the tape?
I believe there's.
So this is the important one. We need important one first. Oh, okay, from her table, I'll get it.
Minutes box number.
Okay. And then where do we put them?
Okay, so basically, what we're trying to
this
do
is
boxes from left to
affidavit.
right,
Oh, okay, so there's just those 2 boxes left?
on information.
Oh, this one, I just pulled
Oh,
it.
right, okay, where did we pull it from?
Right there.
Oh, okay, so do we just see?
Yeah, basically, if there isn't the yellow sheet on top.
175,
Okay.
190.
All right.
Empty envelopes.
Can you get to this one?
Sure. And this is envelopes and affidavits, right?
25.
Yeah.
It's 25 each?
Yeah.
25, 50, 75. 125 plus 9 is 134.
I put it on that middle table by that printer, but it's not there.
So 134.
That's envelope and
Scissors?
application.
Under the
This
box,
is-
sorry.
Just
Oh, okay.
applications without envelopes.
Yep, we use them last, and that's as far as we
60.
got.
We
And-
we have one you look over.
Yeah, let's do that, hold on, let's do, go ahead,
Yep. Application.
just one.
Here, now I see. This is-
Envelopes
Here's a
without-
half of the labels, but they probably want to keep the labels as much as possible.
Yeah, we probably do. I'm just gonna
This is
put one strip right
instructions.
across the top. We don't have a lot of.
We
Unless
list those
there's
are
more.
instructions.
These are other applications.
Okay, so there's that, now I put this on, that on top. Otherwise, I think, no, I think, I'm looking at that one, the other one, I guess they're
So
doing
to
it.
cover with, yeah, we don't want to cover the box number.
Oh,
How many?
Second page, oh, like this. Seven underneath there.
yeah, there's one.
5, 6. Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Let me try it, cause I got, you got it?
List these.
Kind of. You want it first and the last picture before me, and then you
With no numbers.
should I count them off under
Got it?
mine?
I know with like, with those things, okay, so we're just gonna do it one, 2 little ones. Okay, at the, on the top and bottom, yeah, like that.
So you're putting-
Right, that's what you told us
the building getting ours too?
Yeah, we were going by what those other boxes look like. Okay, that's it.
That one, we got
Okay,
this,
so
and
this
the
one's
second
done.
one. And it, you want them over there?
Yeah, on that end. And then this one. Okay, so this is the one. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Just a tiny bit.
Yes.
Yeah, that one we're about. Sure? Oh, there are two here.
There's two boxes still here. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Well, they were on the end of the table, I don't know. One of them says absentee ballot. Yeah, I think those are supposed to be done.
Check with, the
Mark,
supervisor, Mark.
I haven't figured it out actually. So we'll get them, oh, we have to open them.
I just put a little tab.
This is,
All right.
yeah, after a while, still
You need
trying
to
to
vote.
straighten it. This is unforgivable.
Something else.
Right out of
I don't understand why they're sticking to each other. Look at this. No, I know, I counted them, I remember.
Oh, this is nice. Okay.
Sorry. You think I'm neat, you should meet my oldest son.
It won't come up.
Carol, I think you know what, they're going back in the box.
It's the principle of the thing.
Yeah,
I think we all ought to just, go to Staples, buy them a bunch of blood papers and send them to the town clerk anonymously.
yeah. 242. Ah, there you go. You know that red tape is like the ink in a bank bag. It doesn't come out. Really touch tape.
How many?
242. 25 and 17 and 4.
gonna put the Yule Cava over here for now, all right? Is that what, where would you like them, up
Yeah,
here?
that's fine.
You can slide the box over on this side and pack them.
Well, we're gonna do this one now.
Okay. I'm gonna take some, look at, when you, look at all the tape that's on here. Right, I'm not taking it off. Okay, let me do it underneath first. Okay,
Just try to get some of that off.
well, this is much better, because the other one that's done.
No, there's some here.
Which way, you want to do across the bottom?
We didn't do it in the primary, and then we said, no, it makes sense, and we went for the election.
Well, no, there's
Yes,
two more
please.
over there. We're supposed to, they're different in content,
Yeah.
but I think we should just,
Yeah, I mean,
suggested we should go there and count them.
Okay, let's go this way.
More better, or.
Yeah. Let's keep it on.
Angie was very good.
It does come off, right?
I'll clean them again during lunch.
We'll take some off. Can I use your local fingers? Who got one?
Well, off your fingers, you can use the whites, that works, but we're
Okay.
gonna, we're thinking use on, or we're thinking.
So what, oh, box number one.
Well, yeah, that's when you go for your skin, when you go for the table, you gotta return it.
Do you have scissors? Oh, wait a minute.
Well, it doesn't,
Here, get your box.
so that's just like the, they put them in a box. It's called trash. I'm not gonna touch it. Yeah, there's one more box.
Repair them, is that like,
This isn't.
okay, that would be great. Can I roll this just like?
Yes, almost.
Wyndham rejected absentee ballot. You have that many?
I would have brought my knife in, but I think the metal detector wouldn't take it, let me take it in.
Did they even have a metal detector?
Oh.
We need scissors.
But I'll show you one box that we had, that was,
One box, the top went down, so we.
Nick, do we have the orange scissors still?
Look at that. The race to have two scissors get you first.
We have to re-clean the black one.
Now that's what we do.
and I'll accompany you.
You need, oh, you're just gonna open it.
I say, but I don't wanna. How about the outside? No? How does this box open? I don't see where. It's here. We're doing both of these?
We're just
Oh, we're
retaking
gonna-
this.
I think, could this box just just open this way? No, that's not it. I have no idea how to open this up. I tried this way and it's sealed.
That's right. On the end here.
Okay, okay. You need the scissors? Well, good luck to these people who put this stuff in. Yeah, I tried everything. I pulled it up and then it would pull off. Yeah. Oh, look at this poor rejected ballot. Not on voter list.
We're all here for one reason. Doesn't matter what it is, you just do it. These people that had to sit in a certain.
Okay, now, all we're supposed to, what are we supposed to do, just count it? Mark? I'm sorry, yes, these are, I'm sorry, these are rejected ballots, so if everything is inside here, do I just leave it inside?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're looking for a count of the rejected ballots.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll just count these. I have to say, this makes me gladder and gladder and gladder that I hand count.
What's your comfort level with the way we reseal this?
$42, you wanna get that to the table that's still counting?
This is spoiled then. So it's a spoiled,
It's gonna be spoiled.
I don't know.
Okay, so now I forgot, 33, 34, something like that?
That's empty. Look at that, I can't believe how big the table is there. Okay, all we're doing is counting. These are all rejected absentee ballots. So all we're doing is counting.
So in one pile, when you recount each other, you
We do 25 at a time?
Sure.
And I'll have
At
to tell you,
42
getting them
and
out,
then
it's not gonna be easy, because getting them out is not gonna be easy.
An easy box.
yeah, there's 42 here, and then there's, those are ballots, and then that's the affidavit. So do we count the, so we don't have to worry about that envelope? $42, one is 43.
So one of the spoiled ballots is in an affidavit envelope?
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh, the time? Where's the box in here? 11:33? Thought we had used that.
This could be counted as one.
43 includes one affidavit envelope. Affidavit.
Rejected, not registered, John
AF,
O'Connell. Which is half the
AVI.
city's envelope.
AVID. I don't know, AVI.
Here's John O'Connell. New voter absentee, and this is new voter not registered.
Okay.
He registered, obviously.
Waste of a good box.
Afterwards. No.
No. A mailbox.
John M. John O'Connell.
So we,
I'm gonna count it. Can I count these as one, or should I count them as two?
Go all the way around.
Except, see, staple here. John M. O'Connell. This is John M. O'Connell.
so I have 25 here.
Okay, one,
So we need to count each
Going
one.
all the way around.
2, 3, 4, 5,
So how many we have?
2, 3,
Put the thing over there.
4,
No?
5.
Okay.
So these are uncounted?
Yep. 3, 4, 5, so it's 15. You wanna make sure?
Does it make a difference?
20.
No, some of
Six.
Oh.
typical.
1, 2, 3, 4, that would be 25.
So I'll count these I've already counted.
5, 6.
Oh, 6.
Those are counted.
Oh, because I found this stack on top of that.
Oh, that's right, they were in there that
Yeah,
way.
'cause it's
Right,
like that.
that's right, no, they were in the box with the thing. You're right.
That's,
So,
This is 21. I have this application. Right. Here's a.
So a couple of observer questions. One is there a procedure in place in the case of a lack of security tape? I'm concerned that plain clear tape from CPS is being used to close ballot boxes. There is no box that has not been sealed using security tape. However, there is a box that is not actually a ballot box. All the boxes over here contain ancillary election materials. I believe that box contains affidavit envelopes from absentee ballots. And because the box itself is being degraded, additional clear tape was used to bolster the box. The second question is tape always being placed over cardboard material rather than over existing tape? My observation is that the security tape, I want to put this as precisely as I can, that sometimes security tape on a box is both overlaid over existing tape and put on clear cardboard, so that it's serving its purpose of being tamper evident, even though in some cases some of the tape overlays existing tape. So the focus is on getting a unique seal every time. And again, all the paper we've worked with this morning is not voted ballots, it's ancillary election materials. So we're being very scrupulous with it, but it's worth bearing in mind. Sir?
One more comment about the seals and the secure tape and the keys. They are none of the boxes. They are stored separately with the law enforcement officer who is in charge of the room overnight. So they are always overnight stored with the law enforcement, not left here in the room
Okay.
to be out in the wild. Thank you.
You want me to check that? Okay.
This was your file,
Okay.
I'm just
No. 23? Right.
71.
Okay, what about these?
One loose envelope. One loose application form. And 71
Rejected.
rejected. Okay.
Okay, now comes the fun part.
Uploaded solution. Oh, remember I got this pile too.
I must have joked they were in it like crazy.
I tried, I did whatever was necessary.
Okay, so
I'm
you got
done.
one, did you get?
I did, thank you. One.
Okay, and
Oh,
then
then these are tapes.
so we'll just seal that. Is this note and signed?
To put it in.
They stick, huh?
Now I have to put this.
Or you,
Oh, I have to sign
you
it.
just, yeah, you can just